filled with nectar, he became blissful. So we see that words which are not even perfect, if they glorify Hare Yashaha, then they are all perfect. Next word is, this Hare Yashaha is Jagat Pavitram. It purifies the whole universe. Jagat Pavitram, Vamshidhar says, Jagat Pavitram, he gives many wonderful meanings, actually, using grammatical terms. So I've tried to simplify it. Jagat Pavitram means Jagadeva Pavitrayate. Pavi and Jagat, he is Entra, he has split it like this. So Pavitrayate, Pavi means Kulisham Viduram Pavihi. In Amar Koshaha, which is a dictionary of Sanskrit words, ancient dictionary, written by Amar Simha, it says Kulisham Viduram Pavihi. That means thunderbolt. You know, a thunderbolt, Trayate means to protect. Like mantra means protect the mind. In simple words, Manastrayate iti mantra. It protects the mind or it delivers the mind. So Pavitrayate means delivering from the thunderbolt of what? Of this world. This world is compared to the thunderbolt. This is one meaning. That Hari's Yasha, the glories of the Lord, will deliver us from this thunderbolt-like world. You see, a thunderbolt is always struck. Thunder is always struck suddenly. Similarly, in this world, everything is happening suddenly out of no, there is nobody has got a crystal ball. They can estimate what will happen tomorrow. So everything seems to be happening like thunderbolts. So we are thunderbolts after thunderbolts. So thunder after thunder is how we are living. And the Lord's Yasha, glories, protect us from these thunderbolts. Another meaning he gives, Jagat Pibati Samharati Jagat Paha. Jagat and Pa. Pa means to drink. So what drinks? Drink means completely destroys. What destroys this world? Kalaha. What destroys the world is time. Tasmat. Vitra. Vitra means completely deliver from this Kalaha. So Jagat Pa means the destructive time, and Vitra means to deliver completely, to take us out of this time world. This world as we know, this universe, material universe as we know, is the only place where time is active. In the spiritual world, there is no time. When Mahavishnu, he creates, he induces Prakriti with Kala and Swabhava and Karma. These three things. This is given in second canto of Bhagavatam, third canto of Bhagavatam. So we see Kala is induced as the first element which actually agitates Prakriti. And that's how Kala is all pervading in this universe. Even in Brahmaloka, there is Kala. There is time passing. Although slower, it is passing. So this Jagat Pavitram means by constantly chanting or being immersed in the glories of the Lord, the glories of the Lord have the power to take us out of this world of time. Kalaha. Jagat Pavitram. Jagat Agabhid. Alam Shravayed Va Murare. Then he quotes the 10th canto verse, beautiful verse. Shri Suta Vacha. Yaidam Anushrunoti Shravayed Va Murare. One who constantly hears Shravayed or makes other listen, which means who narrates. Murare, of Murari. Charitam, glories. His activities, his qualities. Amrita Kirte. Murari, whose Kirti, his glories are Amrita, they are transcendental. Varanitam Vyasa Putrai, which were glorified by the son of Vyas, Shukadev. One who speaks these Bhagavatam, Jagad Aga Bhid Alam. Jagad Aga. Aga means sin. Jagat means of this universe or the time. Bid, it completely destroys. What destroys? The Kirti of Murari. The glories of Murari destroys this time factor. Alam. Alam means perfectly, completely, without doubt. Tad bhakta satkarna puram. And when will one's time be, when will Jagat be completely destroyed? When tad bhakta, when his devotee satkarna puram, puram means filled, when his ears, karana, are filled with the glories of the Lord. You know, sometimes to remove the earwax, you put some drops. In India, they put warm oil, coconut oil, or here they put warm olive oil. But if you don't fill your ear, if you just put one drop, something like that, then it takes longer and it may not remove all the dirt or all the wax. So here, Bhagavatam is saying that devotee whose ears are full, which means he is hearing so much that there is nothing else resounding in his mind. That devotee, for him, this world will stop. Alam means stop, enough. Alam also has the meaning of enough. This world will be finished, enough. Bhagavati kritachitto yati tatshema dhama. So what will happen? One whose ears are filled with the glories of Hari or Murari, for that person, Bhagavati Kritachittaha, his consciousness will be fully aligned to Krishna. So how do we become Krishna conscious? How do we become Krishna conscious? We keep wondering. Well, here is the answer. When we are immersed in remembrance, chanting, Anushranoti, hearing, Shravayet, and speaking the glories of Krishna, then our consciousness is full of Krishna. And what happens then when this person dies? Yati, he goes, Tatshema Dhama, he goes to that eternal abode of the Lord. Such is the guarantee. This is given in the 10th canto. Now, further, Nayad Vachas Chitrapadam Harer Yasho, Jagat Pavitram Pragrinita Karhichit. Jiva Goswami is an extraordinary personality. He is emphasizing Pragrinita Karhichit. Pragrinita means described, Karhichit means even little bit. This Hari Yasha, which purifies the world, in a literature where it is not even described a little bit. Karhichit kutrachit api. Na prakarshena kenapi amshena grinita. Even a little amsha of, there's no trace of its connection with Hari. Then, and Shukdev from Nimbarka Sampradaya, he comments, na grinita na vadet, which means, pragrinita means it may not have been spoken. So any composition where even a slide, like the Kovida verse of this Kovida Mahakavi, was completely stupid, unimportant, useless, because it had no trace of Hari Yasha, not even a remote connection. But this does not apply to Chitra Kavita. Or Chitra Kavita means astonishing compositions which are connected to Hari. So it's not that there are no astonishing compositions that are not connected to Hari. They may be even indirectly connected to Hari. For example, Mother Ganga. If you glorify Mother Ganga, glorifying of Mother Ganga is indirectly glorifying Hari. So there is still some value, because Mother Ganga is arising from the toenails of Vamanadev. So it is still, or not Vamana, he was in the form of Trivikrama when he cracked the shell of the universe and Ganga came out. So because it touched the lotus feet of Hari, Ganga is glorifiable. So we see, last night I was discussing with the children, different things about the different festivals. And recently was Akshay Tritiya, which is when Mahabharata was composed. And I was telling them how Ganesh or Ganapati, when he was writing the Mahabharata and Vyasadeva was narrating, before they started with this arrangement, Ganesha told Vyasadeva that I will become your scribe. I will write it down only and only if you don't stop speaking. You have to continuously recite Mahabharata. If you stop, I will stop and I will leave. So Vyasadeva said, okay, but then I also have a condition. My condition is you will not write anything until you have understood it. Now, Vyasadeva is, he does his Nitya Kriya. Nitya Kriya means morning, japa, Gayatri, taking bath, because he is in a human form. He is a Shaktiavesh avatar. So he's a Jiva who has been given the potency by the Lord. So he has to do his Nitya Karma every day morning. He has to take bath, shower, probably even attend nature's call. But Ganesh is a Devata. He is a demigod. He doesn't have to do all those things. He can sit there and continuously compose. So Vyasadeva, whenever he needed a break, he composed such verses which really made Ganesh's mind puzzle. And I want to share one with you. And then you can unmute and you can all reply to the next verse as I ask you the questions. So what Vyasadeva wanted to say is this. He wanted to say, may Jahnavi, which is falling on the head of the Himalayas, purify all of us. So in Sanskrit it is, Himalayasya shirasi patanti Jahnavi nah punatu. Anyway, don't worry about the Sanskrit, but I will try and simplify it. Instead of saying this simply like this, he said it with this verse. Even if you don't know Sanskrit, you will be able to appreciate this. And just listen to this verse first. So he wrote this verse. Ahiripu patikanta tata sambaddhakanta haratanaya nihantru pranadatru dvajasya sakhi sutta sutakanta tata sampujyakanta pitru shirasi patanti janavina punatu. Can you see? It's so rhyming nice. It's perfect meter. But the verse is really twisty-turny. And I want your participation. So you can unmute yourself and speak when I ask you the questions. So to decipher this verse, I have given the word for word English meaning. We can, for a moment, forget the Sanskrit. We can just stick to the English. And what he's saying is that...
Do you mind putting him up so I can just...
Haribol? Yeah, please reply when I ask. So yeah, so what he's saying is, may Jahnavi, which is falling on the head of this particular person. Who is this person? He is snake, enemy, lord, wife, father, bound, wife, kidnapper, son, killer, life giver, flag off, friend, son, wife, father, worshipable, wife, father. On that person's head, Jahnavi is falling, Ganga is falling, may she purify us. So now we have to decipher. Ganesh has to decipher who is this. So we'll do it very quickly within 30 seconds or 1 minute. I'll give the answers. So snake enemy. Who is this enemy of the snake?
Garuda.
Garuda. Very good. Garuda Lord. Who is the Lord of Garuda?
Lord Narayana.
Yeah, everyone can answer, whoever. Yeah. Lord Narayana. Narayana wife. Who is Narayana's wife?
Lakshmi Devi.
Lakshmi Devi.
Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi father. Who is the father of Lakshmi?
Samudra.
Samudra. Very good. Ocean. Ocean is the father of Lakshmi. Ocean bound. He who bound the ocean. Who bound the ocean?
Rama.
Rama. Lord Rama, he bound the ocean when he wanted to cross across the ocean and go to Sri Lanka. He bound the ocean. So Rama. Rama wife. Who is Rama's wife?
Sita Devi.
Sita Devi. Sita Devi kidnapper. Who is Sita Devi's kidnapper?
Ravana.
Ravana. Ravana's son. Who is Ravana's son?
Indrajit.
Indrajit. Indrajit killer. Who is the killer of Indrajit?
Hanuman.
Lakshman.
Lakshman.
Lakshman, correct. Lakshman. Lakshman, life giver. Who was the life giver of Lakshman?
Hanuman.
Hanuman. Hanuman, flag off. Who was Hanuman, the flag off? On the
Arjuna's Ratha.
Huh?
Arjuna's Ratha.
Arjuna. Arjuna's flag. So Arjuna. Arjuna's friend. Who was Arjuna's friend?
Krishna.
Krishna. Krishna's son. Who was Krishna's son?
Pradyumna.
Jumna,
Pradyumna's son. Who was Pradyumna's son?
Aniruddha,
Aniruddha. Who was Aniruddha's wife?
Usha.
Usha. Usha was Aniruddha's wife. Who was Usha's father?
It's starting from
Daksha.
He was a demon.
Yeah.
Banasura.
Very good, very good. Who answered that? Correct. Banasura. Banasura was the father of Usha. So Banasura. Banasura worshipable. Who was worshipable by Banasura?
Shiva,
Not Shiva. Lord Shiva was worshipable by Banasura. Shiva's wife. Who's Shiva's wife?
Durga,
Durga. Any other wife?
Parvati.
Ganga.
Uma.
Parvati. Parvati. So let's say Parvati. Parvati, Pitru. Father of Parvati. Who is father of Parvati?
the
Daksha.
Himalaya,
The Himalayas. Very good. Shirasi on the head. So that Janvi who is falling on the head of Himalayas, may she purify us. Instead of saying this, they have said this. Ahiripupati kanta tata sambadha kanta. And Ganesh has to understand. Snake, enemy, Lord, wife, father, bound wife. He's confused. So he takes about a few seconds or few minutes to register. Meanwhile, Vyasdev quickly gets up. He goes and does his Nitya Kriya and he comes back. So such verses are also there, which are Chitra. Like in this verse of Bhagavatam, we hear that Vachas Chitra Padam, astonishing verse. There are astonishing verse, but this astonishing verse which I just quoted is Harer Yashaha, is connected to the glories of Hari, and hence it is wonderful, it is relishable, and devotees enjoy it. But that useless verse of Kovid Mahakavi is not connected to Hari, and hence it is completely useless. How is it useless? Who relishes in that, in those kind of compositions like that Kovida composition? Tad Vayasam Tirtham Ushanti Manasa. Vayasam. Vayasa literally means a crow, a black crow. Vamshidhara says, Vayasam Vayaso Dehavasthaya Nirvahakam. Vayasa means your age or your occupation. So Vamshidhara says here Vayasa means one who simply is concerned with his body and occupation. Such people who have no attraction for the words of Hari, the glories of Hari, they simply waste their time. Vayo hanti iti vayasam. One who is killing his life, his age. One who kills his God-given life, human form of life, is also Vayasa. Kimanyair asad alapair ayusho yad asad vayayah. Bhagavatam then he quotes this beautiful verse in Bhagavatam, right at the beginning. Athava. Can everyone go on mute again, please? I'll let you know when to unmute. Athavasya padamboja makaranda liham satam kimanyai rasad alapair ayusho yad asad vyaya. Athava asya padam bhoja makaranda liham. You know what makaranda means? Makaranda means the pollen which is there on the tip of the stamens or the tip of the filaments of a flower. So the flower's filaments have the small pollen dots. So these pollen is what is being liha means licked, is being licked by the bee. So makranda liham means literally the bees who lick the pollen, the fine things. So the devotee, it is the fine, secret, deep essence of the scriptures, of the glories of the Lord. When you enter deep inside, then you get this secret juice, honey. And this bee is not like an ordinary bee. The devotee bee is not an ordinary bee. He is going and sucking this nectar from a special lotus. What is that special lotus? That is the lotus of the lotus feet of the Lord. If you ever wondered why the feet of the Lord are considered to be like lotus, there are many reasons given. One of those reasons is because the honeybee-like devotees are constantly sucking the nectar from that lotus. So here, this is the verse which says that Pada Ambuja. Amboja means that which is born in mud or lotus. Pada means the feet. The feet, lotus feet, makaranda, the pollen, licked from the lotus feet of the Lord. Satam. That is what the devotees do. Kimanyai asad alapai. What is the use of other useless, nonsensical talk? Alap means talk. People go on talking, chatting. The WhatsApp, then Telegram, then so many, Facebook, chatting, Instagram, is that chatting. Kimanyai. What is the use of anything else? What is the use? In fact, anything else, ayushaha yadasad vyayaha. Vyayaha is being spent, is being wasted. Asat, wasted. Ayushaha. Ayusha, like in Ayurveda, the science of life. Ayu means life. Life is unnecessarily wasted by anything else. Another beautiful verse from Bhagavatam. There is one thief which is committing theft every single day in our lives. We can't catch him. We can't stop him. In fact, if we see him, we bow down to him. If we are cultured, and if we are not, then we still want to see him every day. Everyone wants to see him every day. But this thief is looting us. And yet we want to see him. What a wonderful thief this is. So Bhagavatam says, who is that thief? Ayuhu, life. Harati, he commits theft. He steals away. Ayuhu, ayur harati vai pumsam. He steals away the life of, he doesn't steal some petty possession like my MacBook Pro and my iPad and my iPhone or my BMW car or whatever. He doesn't steal such petty things. He steals the very essence of my breath, my life. Ayur harati vai pumsam. He steals away my life. Udyan. When he comes, astam, and when he goes. As he comes and goes, he's stealing away. With his coming and going, chayan asau, he by coming and going, he's stealing away my life. Tasyarte yatshanonita. While being disturbed by this, by the way, did you decipher who that is? That personality is who's stealing away our life by coming and going. Is there a thief coming to your houses every day and going? And you want him to come also? Anyone?
Is it Asat Sangha?
It is the sun. It is the sun. The sun rises. Udyan means it rises or comes. Astam means it sets or it goes. By the rising and setting of the sun is stealing away our life. And we want to see him. We don't want tomorrow's sun to not rise. Tasyarte yatshanonita. Other than this, other than uttama shloka vartaya. Rite means other than. Other than the varta means glorification, discussion, telling. Varta literally means telling. Telling of uttama shloka, or the words of the glories of uttama shloka. Uttama shloka is Krishna, who is glorified with the best of the verses. Other than yat shano nitaha, that moment or those moments which are spent in hearing about the Supreme Lord, speaking about the Supreme Lord, other than that, everything else is simply being stolen away. So, this is what Vamshidhara says. Kim anyay rasada alapair. What is the use of other nonsensical talks? And he says, he gives the meaning. Vayasam means to spend the life, to waste the life. Vijayadvaja, who is of Madhva Sampradaya, he says, Vayo matrano jivitartham. Vayaha means they are wasting their life just to survive. Even in this such situation where life and death hangs on a thin thread, like currently with this COVID situation, even in such situation, people are saying, take this time out to thoroughly enjoy. People are on furlough, and I'm speaking to people who are on furlough, and they're saying, oh, we are having some of the best time in our life. What are you doing? I've been wanting to watch so many movies, and I'm just enjoying it. What a waste, even when their life hangs in balance. Vayo matrano jivitartham, Vijayadvat says, they simply want to survive. Even in such situations, all they are thinking is, will I survive another day? How do I earn? What do I do? And Vallabhacharya says, from Rudra Sampradaya, he says, Vayasa has three meanings. This Vayasa has three meanings. Vriddhaha, which means old person. Kakaha, kakaha means crows. And Loke Chaturascha, and those who are expert at living in this world. You always have some person who is like really expert at things. When you are stuck in something, you go and call him and he will have every solution for you in these worldly matters. These are experts. But even these experts, because they think that they can navigate this world so expertly, they have no attraction for the glories of the Lord. And they simply waste their time. So, then it is said, this literature, the topics or the talks, which are like crows tirtha. What is the meaning of tirtha? Sridhar Swami says, Kakatulyanam kaminam ratisthanam ushanti manyate. Tirtha means that place where Kakatulyanam kaminam, where desirous people, materialistic people, ratisthanam. Tirtham is that place, that pool in which crows take bath. Kakatulyanam, and these materialistic persons are compared to crow. Why? Because a crow is eating what is already eaten. Uchishta. Uchishta meaning that which has been chewed so many times. Chewing the chewed, like Prahlad Maharaj says, charvita charvananam. That which is chewed is being chewed again. And they are only interested in doing the same thing. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Wealth, wine, and women. And that is all there is. So Sridhar Swami says, for them, such literature is tirtha, is the go-to place. So I have some other people in my office who were on furlough, and I asked them, how are you spending time? So one lady says, oh, I wanted to read, I read Agatha Christie long time ago, and she writes so well, I want to read again. So she's reading all the novels again. Thousands of pages, but no interest in reading Hari Yasha. Amar Kosha, Vamshidhara quotes, Amar Kosha dictionary, and he says Tirtha has two meanings according to Amar Kosha. Nipana Agamayos Tirtham. Actually, there should be another apostrophe, which is, there are two avagrahas there. So it's a typo because there are two avagrahas. What that means is, Nipana means a pool of water, and Agamaha means literature. So here, Tad Vayasam Tirtham, the meaning that Vamshidhara takes is, it is actually a literature for crows. That which does not describe Hari, that literature is literature for crows. Another meaning is, it is like a comparison. It's like a tirtha, a place of pilgrimage, or a pool, a water pool for crows. And Vallabhacharya says, this tirtha is not a water pool. It is Kakanam Uchishta Gartaha. Gartaha means throne, actually. Throne on which a king sits. So Uchishta means that which has been used and dumped, eaten and dumped, leftovers. Kakanam of the crows. It is like the throne, the leftovers, which is considered to be like a throne of the crows. So we see the crows, they really enjoy. In India especially, you can see crows will be everywhere where there is garbage. So you can see in this pile of filth and garbage, it's like a throne for the crows, and they relish there. Whereas the Hamsas, here it says Manasa. Manasa, Sridhar Swami says, Yatha Hamsa Manasa Sarasi. Just like the beautiful white swans who stay in Manasarovar, Manasa Sarasi. So here Sridhar Swami gives comparison. The swans who live in Manasarovar. You know, Manasarovar is a pure lake on the foothills of the Himalayas. And the swans who live there, they have no consideration for such Vayasam Tirtham, for such crow, filthy Tirtha. Vamshidhar says, Harer Manasi Sthita Bhaktah. Manasa means, not only it means Manasarovar, it also means those devotees in whom Hari always has his mind. So please listen carefully. Those devotees whom Hari always thinks about. So devotees, not those devotees who think about Hari, but whom Hari thinks about. Such great personalities never take shelter of such Vayasa Tirtha. Harer Manasi Sthita Bhakta Sattvam Harer Anudhyatah. He quotes Bhagavatam verse. And then he says, Manasa Sanakadayah. These Manasas are like the Manasa, the mind-born sons of Brahma, like Sanaka, Sanatana, etc. 4 Kumaras, Chatush Kumaraha. This is also one of the meaning. But he quotes one verse to prove that Manasa means also those devotees who always occupy the mind of Hari. So here Manu in the 4th canto is instructing Dhruv Maharaj. When Dhruv Maharaj finds out that Uttama, his stepbrother, has been killed by the Yakshas, he goes around killing the Yakshas. And Manu instructs Dhruva and he says, Sattvam Harer Anudhyatas. Saha Tvam Hareha Anudhyatas. You are so special that Hari's mind is occupied by your thoughts. See, this is a description of a pure devotee, that the Lord's mind is occupied by their thoughts. Tat pumsam api sammataha. And his devotees, Lord's other devotees, api sammataha, they also consider you so highly. Then why? How? Katham means how. Katham tu, then how come? Avadyam kritavan. How come you have done such lowly, undescribable act? Kritavan, you have done. Avadyam, which cannot be spoken about. What is that? Killing so many yakshas. Instead of killing the yaksha who killed his brother, he went around killing all the yakshas that were there. Not just the person who killed his brother, but the entire race. So Manu says, Katham tu avadyam kritavan anushikshan satam vratam. Anushikshan, you are teaching by your example satam to other devotees. So please lead by example. But how does he start? Sattvam Harer Anudhyataha. Anudhyataha, the Lord's dhyana. You know the word dhyana, which means meditation. This comes from the same dhyataha, which means meditating. But not just meditating like, the modern yoga people, they go morning yoga class, they meditate. They meditate on blue light, red light, orange light. They meditate on some sound, ing, boom, king. I was with someone who said, I'm meditating on king and I'm feeling so elevated. I rise above the carpet. I said, very nice. Because he's not related to me, I said, very nice, but it will not lead you anywhere. So, but here, this dhyata, the Lord is remembering, also meditating, but not like part-time meditation. He's doing anudhyata. Anu is a prefix which means constantly. Sattvam, you, Hareha, of Hari, Anudhyataha. You are in the meditation of Hari constantly. The Lord thinks of his devotees not when they are in trouble. He thinks of his devotees constantly. So, Manasa means those devotees who are so connected with the Lord that not only they think of the Lord constantly, but even the Lord thinks of them constantly. Such devotees are like Hamsa, Vijayadvaja from Madhva Sampradaya. He says, Paramhamsaha Dhavalapakshava. Paramhamsa means the great white swan with white wings. Dhavala means white, Paksha means wings. Or why they are known as Hamsa, here in this verse, Vijay Das gives very nice analogy. He says, Hamsa is used here instead of any other word because Jalapayo Vivekakarinaha, because a swan, a white swan, is meant to be able to decipher between water and milk. If you give a mixture of water and milk to the swan, it will suck the milk and leave the water. So I was wondering, this must be just some mythical thing. And, modern day swan you don't see. But then I found in one literature which describes different animals. It is written in 13th century by one zoologist. Yeah, we had zoologists in 13th century also in India. So he says these Paramhamsas, the great swans, are no longer there on the mountain top of Himalayas. They used to reside in Manasarovar. They have all vanished when Kali Yuga started. But these Paramhamsas were real. And they had in their beaks a kind of sourness in the tip of their beaks. And if any of the ladies are there or men are there who cook, you know how you make paneer? You put lemon in milk. And you can take milk, add water, and then you put lemon. Still, what will happen? The milk will be milk. It becomes paneer, and the water separates. So these Paramhamsa swans were real, which could take away the milk part and leave the water aside. So here Vijayadvaja says, here the word Hamsa is used because such person who is a perfect devotee of the Lord, he is Jala Payaha. Jala means water, Payaha means milk, Viveka Karinaha. He is able to discriminate. He is able to know what literature, what activities is doable, listenable, watchable. These may not even be English words, but you get the idea. What are doable activities, what are not. And such swans who can even distinguish between milk and water even when they are mixed. Similarly, pure devotees or those who are aspiring devotees need to be able to discriminate. Even when there are mixed things, should be able to discriminate. And such swans, Mimangshaya, Vichara Lakshana Snane Chaya Na Nyapatan. Mimangshaya means to take even a dip. Sometimes somebody is watching a nice YouTube video and they are laughing and laughing and laughing their barrels out. And we wonder, hey, what are you watching? I want to watch. So here Vijayadvaja is saying, Mimangshaya, even to take a dip in something which is not related to Hari. Vichara, even the thought, Lakshana, even the slight thought of Snana, means taking a dip in non-Hari literature, non-Hari activities. Even a thought does not, na nyapatan, na pravishanti, does not enter the mind of such Hamsas. Yasmin tirthe, because they know that that is the tirtha for the crows. So you see these beautiful swans that are reveling in the lake. So here, Vamshidhar and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they have given another counter for an explanation, counter and explanation both. For somebody who may argue that, well, you say that Bhagavatam is got only wonderful descriptions of the Lord. Sometimes that's not true. Sometimes you find certain sections of Bhagavatam, describe things which are not directly connected to the Lord. For examples, there may be some description which are describing the beauty of a woman, some description which describe about household life, and Vamshidhara and Vishwanath, they are giving one example. For example, in 9th canto, there is a description of King Nabhaga and his son Nabhaga. King Nabhaga was the son of Manu, and he had many sons. His youngest son of King Nabhaga was Nabhaga. And this Nabhaga, he was a brahmachari. So he went to perform austerities. And while he had gone to perform austerities, Nabhaga became very old. So the brothers of Nabhaga, they divided the kingdom and the wealth of the father amongst themselves and left nothing for Nabhaga. But then Nabhaga came. So Sri Shuka Uvacha, Shukdev says, Nabhago Nabhagapatyam. Nabhaga was the son of Nabhaga, which means he had the rightful claim on his father's wealth. However, Yam Tatam Brataraha Kavim. However, when he returned from his brahmacharya life to the kingdom, the other brothers said, oh, we have already divided the wealth of the father amongst ourselves. And for you, your wealth is this father himself. So you take the father. You keep the father, we take the wealth. So some people are like this. In my experience also, there are people who don't want to keep their parents, but they want the wealth of their parents. So here, Yam Tatam Bratara Kavim Yavishtham, the youngest, Vyabhajandayam, they gave the youngest, what did they give? Tatam. Tatam means the father. They said, your wealth is the father, you take the father. We will keep his wealth. Brahmacharinam agatam, when he came after his brahmacharya. So here, what is the connection to this verse? So here here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Vamshidhara, they are saying that somebody may argue that you see, this is also a very mundane thing. That how Nabhaga was, his wealth was taken away and Nabhaga was given only his father instead of the wealth. So these are all very mundane descriptions. Where is this verse speaking about Hari? What word in this verse connects you to Hari? It doesn't connect you to Hari. So one may argue like this. So immediately, Vamshidhara and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they reply and they clear the doubt, and they also give another verse to substantiate that. How do they clear the doubt? They say, Nakutrapi Hari Yashaha Samanya Abhavaha Tasmat. So it is not that every verse is directly speaking about Hari, but every verse is connected with Hari. As he says, for example, here, who's this Nabhaga? He then performs austerity and he gets more wealth than his brother through austerity and by pleasing Lord Shiva also later. But more importantly, who is this Nabhaga? Why is he mentioned? Because such a great personality, he is born again in his next life as Maharaj Amrish, who is the wealthiest of all. So it is to describe the greatness of Amrish that this particular episode of Nabhaga is mentioned. It is to describe Nabhaga that his context is mentioned through this verse. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says they are all connected to Hari. In fact, then they quote a verse from the 12th canto of Bhagavatam, which exactly says this, that this particular literature, Bhagavatam, it glorifies it by saying, Kalimala samhati kala no kilesho. Kalimala, this mala means mala means not garbage, but how do you say mala? Dirt. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking in Sanskrit. I get stuck in translating into English. Kali mala, the dirt of Kali. Samhati kalanaha akhilesho, completely is cleansed. How? By Akhileshaha Harihi. By Lord Hari, it is completely cleansed. This dirt of Kali Yuga. What is the dirt of Kali Yuga? The dirt of Kali Yuga is the deep propensity to enjoy this material world. Itaratra, other than this. In fact, the English word other comes from itara. Itara in Sanskrit means other. Itaratra, which means other than this. Na giyate, is not sung. Hi abhikshnam, there is no other place where the Lord who completely cleanses the dirt of Kali Yuga is sung. There is no other place where Hari is sung. Abhikshnam, constantly, continuously, completely. Ihatu punar Bhagavan Ashesha Murtihi Paripatito Nupadam Katha Prasangai. There is no other place other than this literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, where Anupadam Katha Prasangai, where by every word Hari is sung. But then the last word is very important. When it says that by every word Hari is sung, it is not necessarily every word, but Katha Prasangai, by every word which is connected to the Katha, which is connected to Hari. This is how every word of Bhagavatam is connected to Sri Hari. This beautiful clarification, doubt resolution is given by Vamshidhara and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then last, towards the end, Na yatra hamsa niramanti. Na niramanti. Niramanti means to enjoy. Na means don't enjoy. You know, like Ramachandra means one who pleases or makes everyone enjoy him. So Rama means enjoy. Rama means enjoy. Na niramanti. Vamshidhara says na nitaram ramante. Na means nitaram. Sorry, na means not. Niram means, here we have the word niramanti. Ni means is a prefix which means nitaram, always. Or na nitaram means not always or never. So in Sanskrit, the way we say in Sanskrit is sometimes different from English. Not sometimes, most of the times it's different from English. So to say never, you sometimes say not ever, na kadachit. Or sometimes you say na nitaram. Nitaram means always, na nitaram means not always, which means never in Sanskrit. So, na nitaram ramante, never does such a person, kshamatram api, even for a moment, such a person cannot enjoy. Na tatra vishtitam avatishtham, na tatra avatishtham. He does not stay there in the tirtha of the crows. He cannot stay there even for a moment. Iti arthaha, this is the meaning. Nadriyante na tatra karana dattva shrunvanti iti arthaha. Na adriyante. He does not want to even become wet in that pool which has been used by the crows. He does not even want to go and flutter his wing there. Na adriyante. He does not even want to get wet, literally. Na tatra karana dattva. What is the meaning? He does not even want to give his ears. Karana dattva. Having given his ears, he doesn't want to get wet. Shrunuvanti. He does not want to even hear about, even in passing, about this tirtha of the crows. And actually, we are not able to do this. And we wonder why. We wonder why we are not able to do this. The fact is, we waste so much of our time in satsanga, in so many fulfillment of all our base desires. You know, by becoming a devotee, we have not necessarily changed our nature, swabhava. What we have done is we have doubted what was once a common thing that we did to what is now possible to do within the bounds of so-called bhakti, the four regulative principles. I say so-called because we don't really follow the four regulative principles out of complete love for the Lord. One who is a lover of the Lord does not have to follow the four regulative principles. The four regulative principles are by default expressed, exhibited by that person. But that person is one who is developing or developed, or at least got the seed of the love of Lord. So we can ask ourselves, do we have the seed of love of Lord in our heart? Do we have Krishna's love of Krishna in our heart? The seedling is there or not? And Rupa Goswami answers this in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He says, you can know if there is a seedling of love in your heart if you have any of these or all of these and more expressed within you. So one who has that seedling of love, what does that person have? Shanti. Shanti doesn't mean peaceful. Shanti means patience or forgiveness. He can forgive his family members, his friends, even his enemies. Is there forgiveness? This is the quality we need to develop for the love of Godhead to enter. Oh, somebody has scribbled on this. Who is that? Okay, it wasn't me. Avyartha kalatvam. The person who has developed the seedling of love, he does not, vyartha means to spend. Avyartha means to waste actually. And avyartha means not waste kalatvam. He does not waste time even for a moment. Srila Prabhupada once said, somebody asked, and he's given a response, different responses, different at different times. So somebody once asked, Srila Prabhupada, how do I become Krishna conscious? Srila Prabhupada said, constantly remain Krishna conscious. What that means is constantly, at every moment, don't waste the time. Avyartha kalatvam. This is one of the quality of one in whose heart. So if you see someone who's always attached to Bhagavatam, chanting, serving, then you know. Viraktihi. Viraktihi. He's detached from matters of this world. Money, wealth, wine, woman. Manashunyata. He does not want any prestige. He does not expect others to respect him. This is very important. Amanina manadena. Ashabandaha. He's always hopeful. He's always positive. He's not that morose. Humble means very self-defeated and morose and suicidal. No. He's ashabandaha. He's positive, energetic. Positive that he will once be able to see the Lord face to face. In fact, he experiences the hand of the Lord in every act, every moment of his life. Samutkantha, he has eagerness to perform devotional service. Namagane sadaruchihi, he has always attraction for chanting the holy names of the Lord. Asakti-stad gunakhyane, I have highlighted these three in blue because these are related to the verse we are speaking. Asaktihi, he has developed attachment for speaking or discussing his glories. And he has attachment for or love for holy names, and he does not waste his time. Pritihi, and he has genuine love for the devotees, love for the Lord. Tad vasati sthale, but he has special love for Pritihi tad vasati sthale. He has special love for the land where the Lord appeared. Mayapur, Puri, Vrindavan Dham, Barsana. He has special love for these holy places. These iti adayaha, these and others, anubhavaha syuhu. These are the prequel. Prequel means preceding bhava. Bhava meaning the initial phase of love. Srila Prabhupada very wonderfully, simply, and to simplify our understanding, he explains bhava and prema as both are mango, both are love. But bhava is the new unripe mango, green mango. Whereas prema is ripened mango fruit. It is still mango, but one is unripe, the other is ripe. So here, iti adayo anubhavasyur jata bhavam kure jane. One in whom bhava ankura, ankura means a seedling of bhava, jata, one in whom a seedling of bhava has been produced. He will demonstrate these or some of these or all of these. Ankure jane, when the bhav is produced. So we understand that when we have Vamshidhara saying, such a person, kshanamattram api na tatra avasthitam, such a person will not even spend one moment in this crow tirtha. We understand the principle of avyartha kalatvam. He does not even waste one moment. And finally, the last word is ushikshayah. Sridhar Swami says ushikshayah is brahma nivasaha. Why he does not spend time in the Vayasam Tirtha? Because he is attached to something else. It's not that he is just negatively detached. He is positively attached. What is he positively attached to? Brahma Nivasaha, to reside with the Lord, either in his mind and consciousness or in his very physical being. So Ushik means Kamaniya Padma Khanda Nivasaha. Another connection with this Hamsa or the swan is always interested in staying where there is Padma Khanda, where there are lotuses. So where there is lotus feet of the Lord, that's where the Paramhamsas want to be. Tyakta vichitran nadi yuktepi uchchistagarte kaka krida sthane naramanta iti shleshaha. There is a double meaning here, that he is interested in the place where there are lotuses, which also means the Paramhamsa is interested in the lotus feet of the Lord, not in that place which is Uchishta Garta, which is a mountain, which is a throne of leftovers, where crows are doing krida, where crows are playing. Such place the devotee is not interested in. Na ramante iti shleshaha. Vijayadvaja says Ushikshayaha means Shuddham Sthanam, the pure place, transcendental abode, is what the Hamsas are interested in. And hence, if you think reverse, one who is not really interested in topics of Krishna consciousness, to the degree one is disinterested, to that degree one should understand they are not serious about going back to Godhead, about the degree one is interested in Harikatha, to that degree one is sincere and serious about going back to Godhead. That's why I will finish off the session by saying this and take some questions, comments or corrections. We start Bhagavatam with this verse by the sages, Shaunaka and others. They are saying, Vayam tu na vitripyama. Vitripyama. Trip means to be satisfied. We are never satisfied. We are completely dissatisfied. Never satisfied by what? Uttama shloka vikrame. By the glories of Uttama shloka, Krishna. We are never satisfied by Yat shrunvatam rasadnanam. We are never satisfied by hearing the glories of Krishna, especially rasadnanam. Especially these glories of Krishna when they come from the mouth of those who have tasted those glories. Those who have tasted this literature, when they speak, rasadnanam, swadu, swadu, pade, pade, it is sweet, sweet. The English word sweet comes from swad, which means sweet. It is sweet and sweet, pade, pade. At every moment, another meaning is every word is sweet, every moment is sweet. The entirety is sweet. Adharam madhuram, akhilam madhuram, madhuradhipate, akhilam madhuram. So we see that Bhagavatam starts with this sweetness. And this word is very significant. Vitripyama. One who has that thirst and is constantly dissatisfied. Bhagavad Gita also we see Arjuna. You see, he is using the same. I should have highlighted this here. Oh, I will finish very quickly. Sorry. I just realized the time. I beg your pardon. Okay. Am I okay to finish very quickly? Karuna Chaitanya Prabhu, or should I stop?
Yes, we'll continue and you can finish.
Okay. Okay. So here you see trip. Trip means to be satisfied. So similarly here in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, when he is looking at the Lord, he says, Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana. You have expanded your glories, Janardhan. Bhuyaha kathaya triptirhi. Again and again, please describe me your glories. Triptihi shrunvato nasti me mritam. Triptihi nasti. I am not satisfied ever by hearing about your transcendental glories. Bhuyaha kathaya. Please tell me again and again. So we see here, okay, I will skip this because of the time, but we see even in the case of the spiritual world, the gopis, they are saying, Tava kathamritam, your katha, O Lord, tapta jivanam, this life which is fully tapta, tapta means burnt, or we are feeling scorched by this life. Kavi bhiriditam, when your katha is described by the great sages or by the great personalities who have relished your katha, kalmasha apaham, that katha is kalmasha apaham, destroys all the miseries. Shravana mangalam, it is the most auspicious thing to be heard. Shrimadatatam, it expands auspiciousness in our lives. Bhuvi krinantiye, one, these great personalities, they glorify you on the face of the earth. Bhurida jana, they are the most magnanimous because they are giving. You who are the most magnanimous to everyone, such people are the most magnanimous. So in fact, Bhagavatam ends also. So we said in the first canto, we have this first chapter, we have the description of Vitrapyama. We are not satisfied. And how does Bhagavatam end? Sarva Vedanta Saramhi Shri Bhagavatam Ishyate. This Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedas. Tadrasamrita Triptasya. By the rasa amrita, by the nectarine mellow of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Triptasya, one who is satisfied. Nanyatra syad rati kvachit, that person will not have attraction for anything else. One is truly tasting the mellow of the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam, of this literature. So that is the glory of Bhagavatam. Sorry, I went over. I did not realize. Any questions, comments, or corrections? Please let me know.
May I say something, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
First of all, Kartik Chandra Prabhu, I wanted to thank you for a wonderful class, and I'm so grateful that I was allowed to participate in this session. And but I just wanted to share one thought, if I may, and that is that I know unfortunately, I'm not satisfied, and unfortunately, I'm still very addicted to mundane katha and, stupid YouTube videos, and sometimes I feel very discouraged, and I don't know if there's anyone else in this group who, like me, sometimes feels very discouraged with our own, terrible addictions. But there is one verse in the Bhagavatam that really gives me hope. And I thought it was very in line with the class you gave, and I was hoping if I may just share it. It's the 10th canto, chapter 90, text 50. I won't read the Sanskrit, I'll just read the English. By regularly hearing, chanting, and meditating on the beautiful topics of Lord Mukunda with ever-increasing sincerity, a mortal being will attain the divine kingdom of the Lord. And then the verse carries on. But the phrase that gives me hope is that phrase, with ever-increasing sincerity. So, if we just mold our lives at however much kata we can take, however many rounds we can do, that begins to increase our sincerity, and hopefully our addictions to mundane kata will gradually reduce. So I just want to share that, because sometimes when I hear the standard, it's like only Hari Kata, I think, oh God, I'm so far from it. But this verse always gives me hope.
Thank you for sharing. It's 10:90:50.
Yes.
Martyas Tayanusavam Edhitaya Mukunda. Beautiful. The beautiful word here is Edhitaya. So, Martyah Tayanusavam Edhitaya. Edhitaya means gradually increasing, but sincerely increasing, but gradually. No, the word increasing means you were at a lower level before and you have gone at a higher level. Mukunda Srimad Katha Shravana Kirtana Chintayaiti Taddhama Dustara Kritanta Javapa Vargam Gramadvanam Kshiti Bhujopi Yayuryadartha. Beautiful verse. Srimad Katha Shravana Kirtana Chintayati. Chintaya, Chintaya, Chintaya. Chintaya means constantly put in your mind, put in your head. It's an instructive verse. It's an instruction. Chintaya means you do it. It's an instruction, imperative. Srimad Katha Shravana Kirtana. Hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting. But how do you do it? Anusavam. You do it constantly. Mortals, Martyah, mortals. Taya Anusavam Edhitaya. Edhitaya is very important here. It means increasingly do it. And that is our hope. Our hope is one day we will get there. One day we will be at a point where nothing but Harikatha is important for us. And that hope is also one of the qualities of one in whose heart Anubhava. Anubhava means this precursor of Bhava. The precursor of Bhava, or the seed of love of Godhead, has been established in that person's heart. That person is Asha Bandha. As I explained, that person is not morose. That person does not get fearful of the high standard. That person, when he hears, I was with a friend who has climbed Mount Everest with 3 other people, and he's never been and he's also been to K2. So when he climbed Mount Everest, I was asking him what his experience, and I said, he was telling me at every halt, every stopover, I was looking at the peak of the Everest, and I had a big smile. And I had a big smile bigger smile when I looked down and I saw how far I have come. And as I was getting closer and closer to the peak, I was even more and more hopeful that very soon I'll be there. And that's what kept me going. Because this person I'm talking about is a work colleague, but he had 2 heart attacks and he has got cancer. And he's also, asthmatic. So one who has had 2 heart attacks, a cancer, and asthmatic to climb Everest. I mean, he did it because he said that's one of my dreams before I die. But, you learn something from even people in general. So I kind of connected it with this, that Asha Bandha. So a devotee should not hear Bhagavatam and think, oh, these are too high standards. This is not for me. Then that means the person does not want to change, does not have any sincerity, does not have any seriousness. But hearing Bhagavatam, one should feel really blissful and endeavor has that verse actually in the Sanskrit. The word is very beautiful. Editaya. And in fact, this is in chapter 90. And the acharyas have commented. Of course, I don't have the commentary. This was very spontaneous. But from memory, I'm telling you, acharyas have commented that this is the last verse of the last chapter. Is that correct, Mataji, or am I getting it wrong? I think it is the last verse of chapter 90. Chapter 90 is the last chapter of Bhagavatam. And let me quickly check. I think it is. Yes, it is. It is. I am right. Okay. Yeah. So it is the last verse. And they say that after describing the entire 10th canto, the instruction is go on speaking and listening to this katha. Go on gradually increasing. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Pradyumna Prabhu, do you have any comments, corrections?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much again for being with us. I guess my comment would be Swadu, Swadu, Pade, Pade. Your sweetness is ever increasing, and it's so lovely to always have your association and your beautiful explanations and insights and detail that you share with us. Going back to your Govida verse, I wanted to also share with you some useless fact. If you look at crows as a species,
Yeah.
a family of crows is called COVID.
Oh, really? How interesting.
CORVID.
CORVID. Okay.
So that comes from a Latin Corvidae.
Right.
So a family of crows is a big virus.
So we are all affected by that virus of family of crows. Eh?
But there was an interesting realization that I had as you were sharing your composition. If we look at the characteristics of crows, there are three words used to describe crows: quarrelsome, aggressive, yet intelligent. As I was just thinking of those three characteristics of a crow, and then in Prabhupada's purport, he lists the variety of literature that is the place for crows. And if you think about, the way people interact on social media nowadays, if you look at newspapers, if you look at the variety of literature that is created. But then I also reflected on my personal response and my personal feeling when you started the class the way you did. And my immediate response was, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Why is he starting with a personal glorification? And you caught me in that moment of quarrelsome, aggressive. I'm trying to be intelligent. And literally that was just revealing a crow-like mentality. And if you look at the literatures that are produced, it's always about one person arguing against another person who's arguing against another thought, another theory, another discovery, another idea. And it just goes on and on and on. So I thought that was a very useful, it was a magical start because it positioned a certain characteristic. And it's because of those characteristics that we cannot gradually build our sincerity for hearing Harikatha, nor be satisfied by Harikatha. So I thank you so much for a brilliant start, especially for me to reflect on where I'm at as a crow, and gave me insight on the characteristics of a crow and the work that needs to be done to get to the characteristics of a swan. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Well, thank you, Prabhu. That was very insightful. And I think you see, we may all be intellectually from our backgrounds and other ways attracted to certain things. I mean, in the Devaloka, Indra would not be interested in, you know, in Miss Universe of Earth, because it is described by the commentators that the most beautiful woman on Earth, especially on Prithvi, which is where we are, is not even worth looking at by the male horses in the kingdom of Indra. So even the female horse is more beautiful than the most beautiful women here. So, but then Indra is so much engrossed in drinking his intoxicant, and also engrossed in watching his dance and music by the Gandharvas. So everyone, even those who are in higher modes of Sattva Rajas combination, they are also engrossed in their own kind of entertainment, and they are also ultimately crows. And I can also confess and share with you my crowness, if that's also a word, I don't know, is, yeah, I mean, last night as Revati was, this was her brilliant idea. She said, well, you're going to discuss commentaries, I know that you're very good at that, but you should make it alive and compose this verse. And you won't believe it, Prabhu, this verse was not the only verse I composed on COVID. This verse is in Anushtup meter. I have a verse in Vasanta Tilaka, in Shrakdhara. I have another verse which this morning I composed in Anushtup, and these verses just came from my mind, like spontaneously thinking. While I went to the toilet also, I was thinking of COVID verse. So you see, this is just garbage. This is just a pile of garbage. Yeah, one may entertain in very high Sanskrit language with some nice Sanskrit aesthetics. It is still just garbage, because it is taking us from Hari. So these addictions, these vasanas built over many, many, many births are very hard to get rid of. And hence association is important. Association of wonderful devotees like yourself. You gave me a wonderful point to reflect on, and I'm going to reflect on. I hope I stopped composing COVID is Shatakam. 100 words. Yeah. Thank you so much, Pradyumna Prabhu. You're a joy to be with.
You're lovely to be with too. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I also wanted to thank Chintamani Mataji for being with us today and giving your association, and especially sharing that verse in 10th canto about increasing sincerity. Really like that. Thank you so much, Mataji, for being with us this morning.
Yeah, so those who don't know, Chintamani Dham Mataji has been elemental in mass distribution. Well, I shouldn't just say Chintamani Dham Mataji and Krishna Dharma Prabhu, her good husband, have been, key to making mass popular the Srimad Bhagavatam through the mini series that they are writing. It's in such simple but approachable and understandable language, and it just grips you. And I've read a few. I've not read the entire work, I'll confess, but I've read sections, and they are just, you just get touched. Huh? And there is a website, Improving Sangha, that Mataji has, and you can Google it, Improving Sangha, Chintamani Dham Mataji. If you just type that, you will get to that, where she shares her practical insights on how to study Shastra, how to apply Shastra in our lives, how to listen scriptures, how to speak scriptures, how to discuss scriptures. And there is some training needed there. And she actually very kindly, along with Krishna Dharma Prabhu, has put this together, and they are very wonderfully dedicating their life to this purpose. So I wish one day, I would have, an opportunity to do something similar. It seems far and remote at the moment. Thank you very much. Okay. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for a wonderful class, as always. Prabhu, one particular thing in the COVID verse, two lines seems to be so, so true.
Yeah.
Like materialist doesn't understand Vaishnavas, and they are also frightened by their detachment from the material world.
Correct.
And it seems to be so. I mean, in that sense, it's actually related to explaining about Krishna.
Mm. So, this Shiva Prabhu is a nice devotee. He's a very sweet devotee from Andhra Pradesh. So I don't want to drag this on, but you see, there are verses in Bhagavatam which actually speak ill about Krishna. For example, there is a verse which talks about, what's the name? There's a verse in 10th canto where Krishna is being spoken of as Kaka. Kaka means a crow. Since we are talking about the topic of crow, Shishupal, in his words to abuse Krishna, he says, Krishna, you are just a crow. And when he says you are a crow, you should see the acharyas, the way they describe. They describe, or for example, in the 3rd canto, you have description of Varahadev. And Varahadev is described in so many ugly words by Hiranyakashipu. But the same words, the Vaishnava acharyas have given a glorificatory meaning for the same words to glorify Krishna. So I think our so you see, this is also another meaning. Then it becomes nice words. Are you reading this? What is on the screen? So Shiva Prabhu is saying,
Yes.
Kovida means materially expert, but Kovida also can mean spiritually expert, means a Vaishnava. So the same verse can mean a materialist understands Vaishnava, or he does not understand a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava frightens everyone. Oh Vaishnava, please save us from materialists. Very nice. There's only a Vaishnava like you, Shiva Prabhu, who can see it like this. A crow like me can only see crowvid, like Pradyumna Prabhu was explaining. So it's wonderful how, yes, I agree with this. This will be also technically correct. So thank you so much. Okay, if there's no comments, questions, or corrections, then we will stop. Karuna Chaitanya Prabhu, is there anything, or should we stop? Please let me know.
No, Prabhu, thank you so much. If devotees have any questions, then we can continue. But otherwise, we can close the session, Prabhu. And thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to listen to you. And I apologize to the devotees that it got delayed today's class, but still, it was I couldn't stop it. I couldn't stop you. It was wonderful to hear you, Prabhu. And I request on behalf of Leicester congregation that please help us, guide us to study Bhagavatam whenever you have time.
Sure. I feel very happy to be with all of you,
Thank you,
especially Pradyumna Prabhu. And Pradyumna Prabhu has asked me to do the Gajendra prayers. And these are beautiful. They are so deep, so relevant. I would say the word relevant because we can relate to them so, directly. And Pradyumna Prabhu and I, we would at one point, hopefully during this lockdown, be able to study those verses, Gajendra Moksha prayers. And, if it permits and if it's okay, we might open it up for devotees to join. Yeah, I'm always happy to be with the Leicester congregation. One of the more sincere congregations amongst many, many congregations that I've come across worldwide. I think generally the UK congregation overall is very sincere. So we are very happy that we are able to serve. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Prabhu.
you very much. Thank you. Srila
Thank
Prabhupada
you.
ki jai.
Jai.
Somewhere
Thank you so much.
Bhaktavrinda ki jai.
Hare
Hey
Krishna.
Krishna.
Karthik Chandra Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Hare Bol.
Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.